A small toy company. Now, I don't know if that means that they make small toys or it's a company that's not very large that makes toys. The toys could be large or small. But, anyways, a small toy company makes only cars and trucks. The profit made on cars is $2 each, and the profit made on trucks is $3 each. To stay in business, the company must make at least $500 profit each week. Okay, so profit, figuring in all their costs for employees, business, electricity, insurance, all those things, they have to make at least 500 profit each week. The company only has the resources to make up to 200 total cars and trucks each week. Okay, so write a system of inequalities that represents the possible combination of toys that the company can make and the amount of profit they will earn. Be sure to define your variables. Great advice, right? Be sure to define your variables. So I'm going to say that T is the number of toy trucks. Look at me, I'm even writing the word trucks. Toy trucks that are produced each week. And I'll say that C is the number of toy cars that are produced each week. Um, let's see, right? Yeah. So I know that the company only has the resources to make up to 200 toy cars and trucks each week. So up to, they can make 200, but they can't make more than 200. So it's 200 and less. So I can just write this. If T is the number of toy trucks I make and C is the number of toy cars that I make, I can make up to 200 of those, right? Up to 200, but not more than that. So T plus C has to be less than or equal to 200. The next equation talks about my profit. And I know that cars net me $2 in profit and trucks net me $3 in profit. So I could say trucks get me $3. So I can say 3T, that would be the amount of profit I'm making from the trucks, plus 2C, that's the amount of profit I make from the cars, right? And I know that my profit has to be at least $500. So $500 or more than $500. So this has to be greater than or equal to $500. So what I definitely want to do here is I want to come up with a system of inequality. I have a system of inequalities, but I want to graph these, right? To me, the best way to answer this question is to see, are there any points, right, where I can come up with cars and trucks where this will be profitable. Now, because I'm going to go to the Cartesian coordinate plane to do this, I'm going to go ahead and say that X is the number of my trucks and Y is the number of cars. So I'm going to rewrite both of these real quickly. I'm just going to say X plus Y has to be less than or equal to 200. And the other thing I'm going to say is that 3x 3x that's plus 2y has to be greater than or equal to $500. All right, so let's see. If I wanted to graph these, that we can put those into Desmos directly like that, and Desmos would love it. But let's say for some reason we had to get y alone in each. So I might rewrite this as my y values have to be less than or equal to negative x plus 200, so I can see my y-intercept and my slope. On this one, I'm going to take this through a couple steps. I'm going to say that 2y has to be greater than or equal to negative 3x plus 500, or y has to be greater than or equal to negative 3 halves x plus 250. All right, so these are the two inequalities I want to graph. And I'm going to remind myself that X is the number of trucks and Y is the number of cars. So let's jump to Desmos. Okay, so here I am in the beautiful land of Desmos, and I'm going to notice I am signed in, and I'm going to go ahead and hit this graph. It's untitled, but this is question 28, so I'm just going to write 10 space 28. So to me, I'm trying to keep track of all these, so this means I'm in chapter 10, question 28. I'll just hit save, And so I had two inequalities. The first one was that y is less than or equal to the opposite of x plus 200. So I'll type y, and then I just go less than, followed by the equal symbol. Beautiful. The opposite of x, so I've got this slope of -1, and then plus 200. Okay, now, all of a sudden, I want to look at a different scale here, so I'm going to zoom this out quite a bit because I want to be able to see 200. And in fact, yeah, I think if I hold the shift key down, yep, that'll let me just change the y-axis. There we go. And I'm probably going to want to change this one too. So I'm trying to get them roughly the same. We'll probably maybe change that again for the next one. All right, so that's one of my inequalities. Let me just check it again. Y is less than or equal to the opposite of x plus 200. The other one is going to be y is greater than or equal to down 3 over 2, -3/2 x plus 250. Okay, so y, whoops, no, y has to be greater than or equal to -3/2. Let me put my x here and then plus 250. All right, so can they be profitable? It looks like they can. The region that I'm focusing in on is, first of all, negative cars, negative trucks makes no sense. So it has to be in this area here. And the or equal to was in play. So any of these points where I can see, a number of trucks and a number of cars would work just fine. And I could zoom in a lot because there's a lot of numbers in here. But for example, I could make 170 trucks and I could make 10 cars, and that would work, right? Any of these XY points on this in this location would work perfectly well. In fact, can I put a single? No, I can't put a point on here. But these are all solutions. So I would say yes, they can be profitable. And I'm just going to mention that one point. But I can see that any points where these overlap, right, are solutions. If I wanted to, that's an interesting question. If I wanted to maximize my profit, I don't. I'm just kind of interested because none of these are actually the profit curve, are they? They're just telling me how many trucks and how many cars, and I guess I'd have to plug them in to figure out how much money I would make. So let's go ahead and just take this value down. I said 170 and oh, 170 and 20 works. Even 170 and 30 works, right? I could do 170 and 30, and that's probably going to make me more profitable because I'm producing at capacity, right? So let's just the answer is yes, they can stay in profit, and I'll say that there's, for example, 170 and 30 would be production numbers that would work. They would satisfy both of the constraints and make us profitable. So my answer that I'm writing down is 170 trucks with an S and 30 cars satisfy both constraints. In fact, when I add those up, it is less than or equal to 200 items. And as far as profit goes, if I take 170 and I multiply that times the number 3 and then plus 30 times the number 2, that's going to give me $570. So $570 for this one. So yeah, definitely it's the productions, these are no more than 200, and the profit I'm getting is $570. So the profit's bigger than 500. So there's my solution.